3 a.m. is the hour when the dead stop whispering and start knocking. When I stepped onto the haunted bus that night, frost crawled up my spine even though it was the middle of summer. The digital clock above the driver flickered 3 a.m. in sickly red numbers, and the bus doors hissed shut behind me like a coffin sealing itself. I had no idea that this ride would not only take me to a haunted inn, but straight into a nightmare that would follow me for the rest of my life. The bus was nearly empty. Only 4 passengers sat scattered across the cracked vinyl seats. None of them looked alive in the way people usually do. Their faces were pale, eyes hollow, staring straight ahead like mannequins waiting to move. The driver never turned around. His reflection in the mirror was blurred, as if his face didn't want to exist. I told myself I was tired. I had been traveling for days, chasing stories of abandoned places for my horror vlog. When I heard about an old inn hidden deep in the Appalachian Mountains, an inn where dozens of people had vanished, I knew I had to go. The locals warned me, "Don't take the night bus," they said. "If you do, you won't come back the same." I laughed then. I wasn't laughing now. The bus began moving, rolling into a thick wall of fog that swallowed the road. Trees bent inward like skeletal fingers, scraping against the windows. Every scrape sounded like a scream trying to get in. 10 minutes into the ride, the woman sitting across from me slowly turned her head. Her neck cracked as it moved. Her eyes were completely black. "Are you going to the inn?" she asked in a voice that sounded like it came from underwater. I nodded, unable to speak. She smiled, but her mouth stretched too wide. Far wider than any human mouth should. "No one stays there," she whispered. "They only wait." Before I could ask what she meant, she snapped her head forward again, frozen in the same position as before. The bus suddenly screeched to a stop. Outside the window stood a crooked wooden sign barely visible through the fog. "Welcome to Black Hollow Inn." The doors opened. Cold air rushed inside, carrying the smell of mold, wet earth, and something rotten. When I stepped off the bus, it immediately drove away, disappearing into the fog as if it had never existed. I was alone. The inn loomed ahead, 3 stories of rotting wood and broken windows. One light flickered in the top floor like a dying heartbeat. The front door creaked open by itself, inviting me inside. I should have run, but curiosity is a dangerous thing. Inside, the air was thick and heavy. The lobby was covered in dust and old furniture draped with white sheets. A large guest book lay open on the front desk. I flipped through it. The names were there, but none of them had check-out dates. Every single entry just stopped. Suddenly, a bell rang. I spun around. Behind the desk now stood a tall, thin man in an old-fashioned suit. His skin was gray, and his eyes were empty holes. "Welcome," he said. "You must be our new guest." I didn't hear you come in." He smiled slowly. "No one ever does." He slid a rusted key toward me. "Room 313. My blood ran cold. The time on the clock behind him changed. 3:13 a.m. As I climbed the staircase, I heard footsteps behind me. Soft, slow. But every time I turned around, nothing was there. Room 313 was at the end of a long hallway. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, stained with dark handprints. The door was slightly open. Inside, the room was freezing. A single bed sat in the center. Across from it was a large mirror. But my reflection wasn't moving. I raised my hand. The reflection didn't. Instead, it smiled. The reflection lifted its hand slowly, and pressed it against the glass from the inside. A whisper filled the room. "Stay." I stumbled back, heart pounding. The doors slammed shut behind me. The lights went out. In the darkness, something began breathing. Not me. Something else. The bed creaked as if someone invisible sat down. I felt the mattress dip. Cold fingers brushed my arm. "You took our bus," a voice hissed in my ear. "Now you belong to the inn." The lights flickered on. The room was filled with people. Dozens of them, all standing around my bed. Their eyes were hollow. Their faces twisted in agony. They were the missing guests. One by one, they pointed at me. "Stay," they whispered in unison. The mirror shattered. Hands grabbed me from every direction. I screamed, fighting to escape, but the room began to stretch, walls bending inward like a throat swallowing me. Suddenly, I was back on the bus. Sitting in my seat. The digital clock read 3 a.m. The woman with black eyes sat across from me again. She smiled. "You checked in," she said. "Now you never leave." The bus doors opened. Black Hollow Inn waited outside. And this time, I didn't get off by choice. If you ever find yourself on a lonely road at 3 a.m. and see a bus with no destination, don't board it, because some inns don't offer rooms. They collect souls. Smile with horns.